Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday night at 7 o'clock, so that means we have another fabulous episode of And Action with your host, Ricky Borba, and our special guest, don't bring her on yet, though, Tema Staig, who is a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time. I just wanted to take a second to remind everybody that Casting Calls America is now the official partner of IMDb. So if you're on Casting Calls America, good for you. If you're on IMDb, good for you. But chances are, if you're on IMDb looking for an acting gig anywhere, it's going to kick you to Casting Calls America. So why not just join Casting Calls America and nip it in the bud right there? We're very, very excited about this, as you guys can tell. We're just so proud of what our producers and people behind the scenes were able to do. So join IMDb's Casting Calls America and just see where your career could go. So with that said, I am bringing on someone who wants to help a lot of people's careers grow, and that is Miss Tema Staig.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, Ricky. How are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I'm doing great. Yeah, all is well. We're happy. We're healthy.
Yeah. It's good. All is well. You have a fascinating story. I do this at the top of every show. I'm going to read your bio verbatim, okay? So here we go. All right. Tema Staig is the executive director of Women in Media, an organization that she founded in 2010. In 2016, and this is my favorite line of the whole thing, in response to the many excuses for why people weren't hiring women behind the scenes in entertainment, she created the Women in Media Crew List, a Google Doc that went viral. She took Women in Media 501c3 in 2017, transitioning the grassroots community into a vibrant organization and establishing the searchable crew database, which is an underlined link on my paper here. So that's pretty cool that you can actually go online and use that right now as the go-to place to find, vet, and hire women above and below the line. Ms. Staig has been a professor at LA City College, the associate course director for art direction at LA Film School, and continues to teach design for film and television at Santa Monica College, shaping a love for the art and craft of storytelling in future generations. Tema Staig, everyone.
Hi.
Wow. Tema, I have a bunch of questions for you, but in talking to you backstage, I've added one. It's more of an observation, but you're going to talk about it, I hope, with me. There are trademarks and copyrights in life. Dare I say your trademark might be that red lipstick?
It is indeed. Although I have been known to wear hot pink as well.
What?
But yeah, I'm a firm believer that feminism means that you can wear whatever you damn well please. And I like bright lipstick.
That's in every picture I found of you, the bright lipstick is it's so good with the hair too because it stands out and you've got the red hair. It's just good job. All I'm trying to say is good job. Yeah,
I appreciate you. You're the second person this week to notice. I was on a call with another guy from France, actually, in Paris. So I thought I better zhuzh up my look a little bit because this guy, he's around the French ladies, and those French ladies, they'll throw on a scarf and they're it, right?
We're done. Right.
So I thought I better just clean up a little bit. So I just kind of did my normal makeup and made sure I had my red lipstick on. And he was like, I have to say, and he's an Australian guy. He said, I have to say, I haven't seen a woman wear red lipstick in months.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
So you guys have a date? Is he going to fly you out to Paris and take you a couple days?
I offered to come out to his film festival next year. I mean, why not? I'm going to be rocking my hot red lipstick and my hot pink lipstick, and I'll be working the carpet and everything.
I love it. It's a good look. You and I were talking before we got on about how things are kind of, this isn't even on my list, but let's just talk about it for a minute. You're encouraged because you're hearing and seeing and feeling and vibing that things are kind of getting back a little bit. What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, I've been talking to vendors. I like to talk to our vendor partners pretty often just to get an idea of where we are with the industry, especially now with COVID. And a lot of them have become really good friends of mine as well. And I touch base. So yesterday I was talking to people about how things are going, if we're opening up. And a number of them said they're feeling very good about things and things are beginning to heat up. I know a number of my friends who work on a lot of big shows are just, they're exhausted. They're working so much.
Oh,
good thing. We want them. I don't want them to be exhausted, but I want them to be working a lot. And I think that means that it's going to open up across the board sooner than later. I feel like if you look at the COVID numbers, and I check them every day, I'm a little obsessive about it. Yeah. But in Los Angeles, we have gone down like crazy. And I think it's due to the vaccinations and also people finally taking the masks seriously, and washing their hands and all the things you're supposed to do. I think enough people did get really, really sick or know somebody who got really, really sick or even passed away.
Yeah.
Or they know frontline healthcare workers who are emotionally hurt, like really, really hurt. I mean, everybody, like we all go to the doctor at some point, or you have a family member who goes to the doctor. And I've asked them, how are you faring? And they're like, oh yeah, we're quitting after the pandemic.
Oh my gosh. Well,
yeah, like a lot of healthcare workers. So I think people got the message.
Yeah.
And they're stepping up and they're doing the right thing, I hope, at least in LA. And I think that's really dropping our numbers. And I feel good. I feel like, by the time we get to, the summertime, I think we'll be in much, unless something unforeseen happens. Like, I don't know. Clearly, I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
So, like, if there's some, like, wacky strain that comes about, don't count me on that.
Sure.
But, I feel like we're in a pretty good place if things kind of keep going in this direction.
I love hearing that. We are up in here. You're in SoCal. I'm in NorCal. I don't know if anybody even says that anymore. NorCal and SoCal. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sure do.
We're hearing June that, things might be ready to go back in June, which is, it's already March. So here we go. So, okay. So what got you started in the entertainment business? And more importantly for me, why did you what was it about storytelling and that kind of thing? What tell me, talk to me.
So I actually started in theater, right? Believe it or not, I started as a scenic artist in theater because I loved drawing. I loved painting. And I just started doing that. And then I realized that the people who were handing me the models, which are like, they're these little white models made out of foam core, which has all their ideas on there and the colors and the textures. And they would talk about the theater pieces with the directors. And I thought, well, I mean, I'm smart. I could be doing that. I don't need to take other people's work and make it bigger, because that's what you do. You get a 1/2-inch model or a 1/4-inch model. And as a scenic artist, you interpret that for the stage. And I thought, well, let me see if I can get a gig as a theater designer.
Yeah.
Because all I wanted to do was draw and paint. That's all I ever wanted to do in my life. So I very naively called every theater on the East Coast to see if they wanted to hire me as a.
Why is that naive? That's not naive. That's brilliant.
Wow, it is, until everybody's like, no. And then somebody gave me very good advice, because there's actually a lot of skill that goes into being a theater designer. And I just didn't know. It's like I wasn't brought up in the industry. I mean, I didn't know what that route was. So they said, well, you need some credits and you need to go back to school to learn how to do it. Like, do you know how to draft? And I was like, I mean, I know how to read drafting because I'm a scenic. They're like, but you need to know how to draft. You need to have more education. So I was like, oh, okay. And I thought, well, I'll go back to school. I'll apply. And if I don't get in, I will continue doing either scenic art or props for theater.
Yeah.
And I only applied to NYU because the only schools I knew about, I knew that NYU had a film school. And I also knew Yale had some sort. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I knew they both had theater schools, right? And I thought, well, I'll apply to NYU because I like New York. I'm not that fond of Connecticut, right? So I applied to NYU and I got in, which was the craziest thing. Yeah, and I've always sort of lived my life that way, where I'll just I'll get a yen to try something, and then I'll just do it, and then
I love it.
And then that's how my life has had its trajectory. Anyway, so I started in theater, and then when I was in grad school and killing myself in grad school, I realized that I really thought in 3 dimensions, and that film design was a really good route for me. And I should have known prior, because in undergraduate, I took 6 film history classes, and I actually got in trouble because I was on scholarship, and they were like, okay, you've taken too many film history classes, and we're done subsidizing your film history edition.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So you're taking your classes, you're in NYU, you did it. Like, a lot of people would be like, I did it, I'm good. We're going to, but then at some point you started noticing that women weren't getting a fair shake. So I want to know, how early on did you start noticing, something's not right here?
Yeah. Well, so this is the painful thing. My parents, especially my dad, they always told me as a kid, you put your mind to anything and you work hard, you can do anything.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I got good grades. I got into college early. I just worked my butt off. And then I get into the workforce. I was actually a little underage working in the nightclubs, like a little teeny bit underage. Anyway, that's when people started telling me I couldn't do things and treated me like I wasn't as smart as I was, or, being really disrespectful and being really awful. It would be the guys. And I couldn't really understand why. I was like, what is it about me? And I think this is really common. A lot of women will think like, what did I do? What's wrong with me? Why are they treating me with respect? Why are they telling me I can't do this?
Yeah, right.
And I had people tell me straight up, like I was, I started out in nightclubs, as I was saying, and they told me that I could not be a DJ. I was the art and lighting director at a club, and I got really good at working the video, because back then it was 3/4 inch video, and you had to keep it in sync with what the DJ was doing. So it was like pause play, forward play with the shuttle, right? Like now you know how long ago this was. Is it when dinosaurs roamed the earth? Yeah,
the wheel being invented.
Exactly. Yeah. So somebody told me straight up, because I said, look, I want to play records. I want to DJ. And this when I was the art and lighting director. And he said, oh, girls aren't DJs. He said, men are DJs, and the owners of the club will never hire you to DJ.
That's not good.
And I was like, no, it was crazy. So I became friends with the lead DJ who had worked at Studio 54 and the Monster, really great DJ. Yeah. But he had a little bit of a drinking problem. And he would get a little, So he
taught me. Club in a bar? Weird. That's weird. I would never have thought.
I know, right. Weird, right? And a little, sometimes drugs, but anyway, part of my job was to even this guy out so he'd be capable of playing records. That was my babysitting gig, Yeah. So he would teach me how to play records during the day so that I could cover for him until he was evened out, until he'd had just the right amount of vodka. This was a guy, so those tall glasses that you get at nightclubs, it was that much vodka and a little bit of water.
Right.
Yeah. And that was my job. Anyway,
I'm the opposite drinker, by the way. I'm a little bit of vodka, a lot of sweet and sour.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the girl who has a glass of wine all night long, but it's the same glass of wine.
There it is. Yeah.
So anyway, he taught me how to play records. I actually got really good because I practiced my butt off. I loved playing records, and we would go record shopping together, and all we would do is talk records and movies. Literally, that's all we had to talk about.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, it was great. Anyway, so eventually I was working with a different DJ at their other club who would he would lose the dance floor. You would demolish the floor, do a terrible job. And then he would say, oh, I hear that you're practicing records. Why don't you play for a little bit? And I'm going to go to the bathroom. I really have to go. I'd be like, great. Okay. So I would play records and I'd get the floor back and everybody would be screaming. And then he would come back magically.
Yeah.
So, one of the managers. One of the managers saw this happening and she was like, hey, you're pretty good. And I was like, oh, thanks. Yeah. She said, well, I'm going to put you on for Thursdays, which are our slow night, so that's cool. So Thursdays become the night to come to the club and nobody's coming the other nights.
Whoa.
And she's like, okay, I'll put it on Friday. And then Thursday and Friday become the nights to come to the club. They're not coming on Saturday or Sunday. So before you know it, I had 4 nights at this club.
Wow.
Yeah. And it didn't occur to them that this wasn't a gender thing. It's I just played the right song the right way at the right time. And I could read the crowd. I was really good at blend mixing and everything. It was vinyl and I knew how to beat match. So,
So you're noticing and you're being flat out told girls can't do this, which is just abhorrent. It's disgusting. I'm the father of 4 girls. I have a boy too, but I would be furious if anybody told that to my girls. So you're seeing that.
They're going to.
Oh, so, okay. My favorite line in your bio is, in the response to many excuses for why people weren't hiring women, I want to hear some of those really lame excuses that you were hearing.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome. So there's oh, I worked with a woman once and it didn't work out, so I'll never hire another woman again. And it's but you worked with a guy before and it didn't work. Surely we've all worked with a guy before. Didn't stop you from hiring men.
Well, that logic, you don't date anymore because you date somebody that didn't work out, so you're done.
Do that. Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, I heard that. there were a lot of like really dumb excuses. There was
Yeah.
also there are no women in X department, so it's like we would say hire more women in the camera department, hire a DP. There are no women. I don't know any women DPs. There are no women DPs, and I would say I have a list. Here there are. Yeah, look.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then there was also so there are women DPs or blank art department, whatever, but they don't have enough experience or skill for my job.
Oh.
So, and it was like any excuse would do. So I was like, forget this is crazy. And I started I had been doing these events at the film school for a number of years. So I had literally contact sheets full of these young women who were making their movies and who had gone to film school and who had been networking for ages.
Is this bi-coastal? Because in my mind, I'm thinking New York still, or is this bi-coastal at this point?
So at this point, I was in LA, but I have contact sheets for both coasts, and I know people on both coasts, and Women in Media is international. So anyway, so I was like, I knew that there are people. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a Google contact, like a Google sheet, right? And I'll just tell people to sign up. I'll spread it around, and then I'll tell people that they can just go and vet people. Well, it turns out Google Sheets are once you get to 2,000 people in 26 departments, they're not that stable, oddly.
Wow.
Yeah. So I decided that I would finally go 501c3. There's clearly a need for this, and there are people who want this, and people were sending me messages saying, this is unbelievable. The quality, I'm meeting so many people. It's so easy for me to find people to hire that I decided I would just go 501c3 and create a broader program. Yeah. And so now the crew list is still very, very important. People do hire. I mean, I was on the phone with somebody the other day and she was like, I got a call today, somebody looking for a graphic designer and I'm getting a gig. I was like, that's what I love to hear.
I love it.
Yeah, but aside from the crew list, what's become really powerful, the events are incredibly powerful because they're all about thought leadership, education, about being better craftspeople. And it's across all the departments, right? It isn't just directors, because that was the thing as well. People only knew about women as directors, producers, writers. They didn't think there were women in the crew. And to my mind, until we have 40 to 60% women, every department, every crew, every show, we will not get to parity because there's one director on set. And there's a lot of people in the camera department, the art department, grip and electric. So that's where we need to really fill it up because it's a numbers game. And we need to get it parity, right? In order for the industry to be right, to be healthy and healthy.
Absolutely. No one should have to work twice as hard as someone else to get to that same level. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. I don't like it at all. When I'm on a set directing, I don't care, sex aside, male, female, I don't care that. But I don't care if you're the craft services person or the executive producer. Everybody gets treated the same way on my sets because everybody is a human being and we all deserve that. So that's infuriating. So
infuriating. Yeah. I mean, my feeling is that if you have the passion, if you have the intelligence, if you have the talent and you really want to be in the film industry, I think you deserve your shot.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be something as silly as like gender is stupid. Yeah. I mean, it's like,
if you
let people show they can do the work and let them get out of their way.
If you're no good, then let that be why you can't work anymore.
Exactly.
And conversely, if you're great, doesn't matter. So, so you make the Google Doc, it goes viral. I think you said it, but I'm going to ask specifically, did it go viral because of how many departments and people, or how did it go viral?
It went viral because nothing like it existed and people needed it. For one, it's a pain in the butt to crew up anyway, right? It's hard to find people. And what people normally do is they kind of like send it out in the ether like, hey, Ricky, I need a production designer. Do you know anybody? And you may or may not. Yeah. But this way they could just go to a list and they could be proactive about it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, like people are sort of like telling everybody, I found this list. It's so easy to find, not even just like woman crew, just crew. Like I can just crew up like that because I could just go and like, I can sort the document and it's easy.
See, we're having so much good times right now that like it's flying by. We have like 8 minutes left and we have a minute video we want to show and talk about one of your initiatives. So Bex, let's go and play the video.
it's about training and mentorship and really making sure that we free up the path toward becoming a member of the union, so that then people like me and department heads are able to hire, because these are union shows and we are limited to union members. So I think that as far as getting to parity, that feels like a really active way, a very proactive way that we can get to that space.
I do feel that if people wanted to make that change faster, it would happen.
I'm not a fan of gatekeepers. You know, the more that I think everybody is at parity and the more equal opportunity that everybody has, I think the better off we all are.
I think given the resources that they are being given with the generosity of such sponsors as Sigma and Women in Media, I think it's a really exciting project to be a part of.
Hashtag hire these women.
Hashtag hire these women.
Hashtag hire these women.
Hashtag TEMA STAIG. Awesome. So, first of all, time out. We are putting the brakes on this bus for a second. Colin Trevorrow, I'm a huge, I wanted to see his version of Star Wars so bad. The version we got was not. Okay, I'll move on. Okay,
yeah.
So I thought.
Yeah, you're allowed to be bitter, Ricky. It's okay. I'll tell him you're angry. No, I won't.
Please tell him your BFF, your new BFF has Star Wars stuff in his house. He's fierce. Okay, right? So I saw Sati in a couple of those little boxes there of video. We had her on the show about 4 months ago, but I want you to talk about. I'm going to try to say it right. CAMERAderie. Is that how you say it?
That's it.
Yes. Okay. Talk about CAMERAderie.
So, we decided that we wanted to make these films to help women break another barrier to entry, right? Because we're all making low budget indie films, and there's nothing wrong with making your own low budget indie film with a couple of friends and your iPhone or, whatever camera you can get, and your mom does the craft services. There's nothing wrong with that. However, a big barrier to entry is moving up into the bigger budget, either independent projects or TV shows, or just big budget TV or films, right? And nobody will hire you to do it unless you show that you can do it. And that's true of any job, certainly in our industry. Yeah. So we wanted to show that women could command a big crew. They could work with a colorist, that they could have the bells and whistles and the toys, and that they were worthy of bigger jobs. So that's how we were able to kind of connect people like Sati to Colin to Trevorrow. We gave them mentorship and gear, and we paid for the dumb, boring things that you have in production, like permits and the annoying things that don't really show up on screen, insurance, and then we got a lot of goods and services from incredible vendor partners who really helped us make these films. And then we gifted equipment and goods and services to people. And the mentorship that people got was incredible. So now Sati is working for NBC Universal, she's part of their screenwriters program, where she's writing 2 films for them now. I'm sure she told you. Yeah. A lot of that was because we connected her to Colin, who has incredible belief in her. He thinks she's just,
She wouldn't mention his name, actually. She would not mention his name. So that was really sweet of her. No, that's fine. So, okay, we have 4 minutes left. Okay, we have 4 minutes left. I have 2 very important questions for you. So question number 1 is, first of all, statement number 1, thanks for being a trailblazer and for caring about women and for trying to make things in this world a better place. But second of all, what sorts of things and changes have you seen? And I'm hoping for a very positive answer here. What sorts of things have been taking place now that?
A lot of changes, right? So there are people who told me, I'm going to say in 2014, 2015, that it was impossible to make the moves to get to parity below the line, that we just had to focus on women directors and producers and it would trickle down. But clearly people have gotten on board with that because things are changing very quickly. We see a lot more women on set below the line, and there are lots of lists are beginning to come up. I mean, it's easy to get on a moving train, and that's what we did. We provided that moving train, and now people are like, they're all talking about hiring women of color as if it's their idea, and it's like, oh man, we've been talking about that. I mean, I've been on podcasts, making waves about that for years.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, it's all their idea, to hire more women and people of color below the line, and I'm fine with that.
Exactly.
I feel like I've Tom Sawyered it in a way because I was waving my arms for many, many years trying to get other organizations to do it or other people to do it. Because I just wanted to paint and draw and do my production design thing. And I couldn't get other 501c3s or other people to do it. So I had to start my own damn 501c3.
What's the old adage of it? It's something about do it yourself. If I don't know, there's an adage there about if nobody else is doing it, do it yourself. Yeah. Okay. So final question. Doesn't matter. Men, women, I don't care. Anybody, in your opinion, who's interested in getting started in the film industry, this is my last question every show. What's your advice to someone who wants to get started? Whether it's the art department, acting, doesn't matter. Go.
Well, for one, you're probably going to have to be ready to do a little bit for free. Okay. Because like I say, nobody's going to hire you until you've done it and you've proven yourself. So you might have to save a little money so that you can follow that film dream. And that's really my best advice, to have that cushion, because if you go out there with like no money to support yourself while you're chasing your film dream, it's going to be a real struggle, which is what I did. I mean, I'm not saying it was the right thing to do, but I went into it with like no money, and nobody told me like, you're going to really suffer. So, that would be my best advice. Try to afford more money.
So the last thing we're going to do, no context. I'm not going to explain it. This is your very first Instagram picture on the Women in Media page. Explain it.
Okay. That was an event that we did at Los Angeles Film School. And that's one of my friends, Bonnie, who I know from high school. Believe it or not, we did a really cool event. I believe that might have been either we were screening Catherine Bigelow's film Near Dark, or it might have been when we showed Shrek and we had the director, Vicki Jackson, with us.
Wow.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
I like it.
So we would have food and we would hang out and do networking, and then we would go in and watch the film, and then we'd go and have cocktails across the street, because that's what we do. We like to party and have fun.
You love it.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
that's
Tema,
what BFFs. Women in media.
Women, look at, see how fast this went? Can you even? This feels like it lasted 30 seconds. It's crazy.
Because you're so much fun, Ricky. I love you.
Tema, you're fun. I like you too, Tema. We'll have to bring you back because I have like 9 more questions here, but we have like 4 seconds. So thank you for watching this episode of And Action with Tema. Tema, thank you so much. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we will bring you back, Tema.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.